Good morning. It is Monday, May 16th. That makes it 90 days out from Sunday, August 14th. We are coming up this week. There's a few different opportunities to golf. One is disc golf, one is regular golf. And we'll get to all of that because two of our agents, off the top of my head, I know that two of our agents are doing fundraisers coming up this weekend on Saturday, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So for the rest of today, at 9 o'clock, Ignite is in the Portsmouth building. We're in the training room at 9 o'clock, and we're on session 9 of the new Ignite. Now, the new Ignite has gone to, this is like version 6. They're calling it version 6. So we had original Ignite. It went for a while. That used to be, they've had, maybe we are technically on the 6th, but we've gone through a few different versions. But the last version we had, the one we just did a few months ago, the one we were teaching with the region during the entirety of COVID, was 2.0. And now we're on 6.0. That's neither here nor there. What's most important is remembering that Ignite is for any agent. I need you to write this down if you have a sharp crayon. If you're having your pancakes, dip your fork in the syrup and write this on a napkin. Ignite. Per the guy that I'm pretty sure knows what he's doing. Ignite, per Gary Keller, per our founder, the guy that started this whole party. Ignite is for any agent who has done 16 or fewer transactions in the last 12 months. So roll back 12 months. And how many do you have on the board? No judgment, but that's the barometer. And then when you get plus 16, consistently plus 16, when you're a plus 16 kid over and over and over again. So if you're a capper, you might be in this conversation because to cap at our company right now, per our average GCI check and per average volume, commission side gets you a GCI check of about $10,250. It's about 10-ish deals to get to capper status, in your financial year. So even being a capper doesn't get you at the 16 mark. 16 is when you're starting to think, oh, okay, I need physical talent to come on board. You're going to start to hire maybe that VA or the physical EA. You're going to hire that transaction coordinator or like ultimately Jason Hool, right? So you get to 16 pops a year. That's when you've ultimately graduated, not to leave Ignite, to go to the other side of the table and instruct Ignite, which we'd love to have people do. So if you're thinking to yourself, I did Ignite back in 1935, I appreciate that. Come and join us. The content has been refreshed. We haven't made up new rules. There's not new real estate truths. They have refreshed the content. And there's a focus on our Red Book and our Shift Book and, of course, the One Thing. So we are on session 9, which is Capture More Leads. That's today at 9 o'clock in Portsmouth and online at timsoffice.com if you want to join us for the stream. And you can completely interact with the classroom when we do that. So we'd love to see you there. That's 9 o'clock today in just minutes. At 11 o'clock today, we're doing the mastermind for our future and emerging cappers. So everybody in our market center who is not a capping agent, we'll be talking to you at 11 o'clock. That is at kellertv.com. And then you've got to Ask the Brokers today at 1 o'clock. Jason Westcott, Jennifer Vashon, 1 o'clock on Keller TV, Ask the Brokers. This is an opportunity to have a Q&A town hall conversation with the two best brokers in the state of New Hampshire. And I say that, and I know we have other states, and I know they're in charge of other states, but I'm just saying at our humble little party we have going here, we have two of the best brokers, hands down. So for you to have 60 minutes of their time to ultimately just ask your questions, bring your concerns, issues you've seen, and hear straight from them on best practices, okay? So we'd appreciate you guys joined us for all of that. Now, to what's going on this week. If you are not yet signed up for golf, I'm pretty sure there might be some spots left on some teams. You can sign up as a single. You might still be able to cobble a team together. I'm not quite sure. You want to reach out and check out that link. If you scroll down in the morning news, you will find all the golf information for this Wednesday, which got moved from May 4th, and Nathan loves to have it on the 4th of May. Although I think we're stuck on Wednesdays right now, so I don't know if next year we're going to do it. I don't know if we're going to keep moving it to be on the 4th of May because then it's going to be on a Saturday and a Sunday and all that stuff. But nonetheless, May the Course Be With You has been moved because a couple of weeks ago we had some rain. This Wednesday, it is at the links at Outlook. And every dollar we profit after paying our bills for this fiasco that we're putting on, which is going to be amazing. Lots of cool stuff. There's a hole-in-one truck. Which I will have no part of because I do not hole. I do not hole out. I do not flush my three irons, my 4 irons, or any iron towards a par 3 shot. Somebody might win it. Who knows? So there's a hole-in-one truck. There's a lot of cool prizes after golf, which starts at about 8:30. I think we tee off shotgun start. It's a scramble. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. I'm fortunate enough to surround myself with better golfers, and it's all for a great cause. So check out the link. It's in the news. That's Wednesday. Now, this weekend, there are 2 other opportunities to do some cool stuff that is being put on by our agents. First and foremost, there's a Miss the Trees event. This is disc golf. Let me tell you what I don't know how to do. Disc golf at all. Although Alexander Lamonte is putting this on. It is going to be at the Salmon Falls Disc Golf Course, which somebody said it's in Dover, but I feel like it's closer to Rochester. You'll find it. You'll have time to track it down. They do have discs available for rental there. When I talked to my nephew, who's very excited about disc golf, he's like, well, he goes, it's not that expensive. We can put a bag together. And you can put a bag together with very good discs at a very reasonable price. So I put a bag together that ultimately Aiden will probably take away to college. So I'm playing. My son's playing. My nephew's playing. I think Westcott's jumping in. Disc golf is taking place this Saturday at Salmon Falls Disc Golf Course. And that's brought to you by Alexander Lamonte. That'll be in the morning. Then in the afternoon at the Cara Irish Pub in Dover, Laughter for a Cure is being put on by Riley Bacon, one of our great agents. So please check out their Facebook pages. Riley Bacon is doing Laughter for a Cure at the Cara Pub in the afternoon. And then, of course, we've got Salmon Falls Disc Golf with Alexander Lamonte in the morning. So I think it's like 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock start. So what I know on Saturday, it's going to be 90. I will be fit to be hydrated by 2 o'clock. So obviously there's an after party after disc golf, and then we will probably roll down the hill and go to the Cara Irish Pub for Laughter for a Cure to support Riley. So please come out and join us for that and support your fellow agents. If you ever have an event that you are putting on for your clientele and for the general public, you want me to talk about it, I'm happy to do that. So there's golf on Wednesday, disc golf Saturday morning, and then Laughter for a Cure Saturday afternoon. So we've been staying in the MREA. MREA, the force be with you, right? So we're going to talk about in Ignite today. We're going to talk about capturing more leads. And I think what's important, and we're going to talk about this in class too, but I just want to go over so people remember. And this is if you have your red book with you. If you don't, no judgment. If you don't have a red book, slight judgment. Go get a red book. Now, I always hold up mine, and people are like, where'd you get that one? That one's amazing. It is. I love this one because it lays flat. There's less wear and tear. And as long as I'm pretty good to her, I'm probably going to have her for a long time. So I have the spiral-bound version of the red book. I have the spiral-bound version of the shift book. And then I have spiral-bound Millionaire Real Estate Investor, the blue book. I don't think they make shift and hold. And I don't think they make hold and flip in spiral bound. I haven't seen it as of late. If you want the spiral bound editions, you have to go to Keller Inc. KellerInc.com. If you want just a regular copy with a hard spine, just go to Amazon. Because as soon as you find your red book, you're going to be able to grab the red book. You're going to be able to grab all these other things. So, the one thing and all that kind of stuff. So get yourself a copy of the red book. And there's a great opportunity to have it with you at all times. So if you are near your red book, or when you get to your red book, it's page 138. And page 138 is a great reminder of all the things that we can do to get ourselves more leads. All the things that we can do to get ourselves more leads. So from a prospecting standpoint, and the differentiation between these two things, because I think if you haven't really had this conversation, you've never really thought of this. All the things that we do to get more leads, to have more conversations, there's active and there's passive. And if it's active, it's prospecting. If it's passive, it's marketing, right? So, for example, the 2 events our agents are putting on this weekend. If you saw a flyer, if you saw a post on the internet, on any social media, if you got an email, that's marketing. That's passive. there's an event, there's value in those events, and there's a call to action. Join us for these events until one of those two people, until you've heard from Riley or you heard from Alexander, you didn't really feel invited. And this is important to remember because we deal with this, obviously, too, at the market center level. And Zoe and I have been talking about this a lot lately because it took me this long. It took me this long to actually have this thought and figure this out. I've been in this role since 2014. And why we're always, this is a Diana Kokoska word, by the way, great maps coach. The reason I've always been fascinated, we replace frustrated with fascinated. We've been so fascinated sometimes when we send out all this stuff. We put out, there's a text to you guys, there's an email. And think about this. When we talk about communicating with you guys, it's just like you guys communicating with your clients, right? Or your prospective clients, the consumers, the civilians. So as people that are trying to create value, we have this event, right? So if it's a class at the market center, if it's an all partners meeting, there's the barbecue coming up at Gunstock. We've got the events this week. There's golf this Wednesday put on by the market center. There's disc golf this Saturday with Alexander Lamonte. There's Kyra's Irish Pub with the Laughter for a Cure this Saturday with Riley Bacon in Dover. You could see marketing. You could see the flyer. There could be a billboard. There could be a myriad of different ways that you're seeing about the event until you hear about the event. And what do I mean by that? Until somebody invites you. Because we hear this all the time. Agents will say, well, I never heard about it. I didn't know that was happening. Because passively, they saw media about it. But they were never called and invited. So prospecting, we always know is going to be more successful. Because people will feel, can't tell them how to feel, right? Our job as leaders is to help them think differently. But we can't tell them how to feel. People feel how they feel. We have to hold on to that, respect that, and then figure out how we can make them think differently so they will feel differently. That's point far from bold, right? Our programming leads to our thoughts lead to our feelings lead to our actions lead to our results. So when people are programmed that they see a flyer, they think it's something happening, but they don't feel it's for them. So their action is to not go to the event, and the result is lower numbers. You with me on this? So prospecting and marketing. Here's the list of things, if you have your red book on page 138, that are considered prospecting. FSBOs, for sale by owners. Expireds. And on both of these, for Gary, because I can hear Gary telling me, shh, tell them about the TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. $42,000 per violation. So you're going to donotcall.gov to make sure you're scrubbing any numbers you might be calling for expireds or FSBOs. Yes? If you have a system, if you have a dialer like the Red X or a Mojo or any of that kind of stuff, they're probably scrubbing the leads for you. I would scrub them again. Why? Because I don't have $42,000 laying around that I want to send to the government for a fine. I don't know. If you're feeling dangerous enough to make a myriad of phone calls, don't do it at the risk of $42,000 per violation. How was your Saturday? Made a ton of calls. I'm out $128,000. Cool. Nope. No, thank you. Just sold. Just listed. When you list and sell something, are you calling around it? Are you calling around it and knocking around it? Your past clients, people adore you. You got them to the finish line. You got them to the closing table. Your allied resources, your butcher, your baker, your candlestick maker, your lender named Brad, your title people, Jenny Kopp at 4 Points, right? A geographic farm area. When you're farming geographically, it means you're attacking a certain neighborhood. I appreciate that you want the city of Portsmouth, but you actually want to drill all the way down to a neighborhood. And I want Little Harbor. Okay, get more specific. Pick a street. Start with one street. Become the mayor of the street. To take over a postal route, to take over a neighborhood, to take over a town, right? Apartments. There's apartments nearby. You've got a listing, and there's apartments nearby. And you can run the math. You have your great local lender, Brad Kelly, run the math on what it would cost to own that house in relationship to renting at the apartment building. Go have a conversation with them. Tim, there's a sign at the apartment building that says no soliciting. So you're doing a survey for results. You're not soliciting. You're conducting a survey. And if they, tell you to get off the property, then you have to leave because the super is going to call the cops. Don't get arrested. Corporations. Do you have friends at Liberty Mutual? Do you have friends at Saffron up in Rochester? Have you made friends with the HR director? All you want is an at-bat. You're probably going to go into the HR departments. There's going to be a ton of realtors that have their business card on that person's desk. Tell them you want their next at-bat and knock their socks off. Builders. Do you have a builder? Do you have a GC? Do you have a developer? Do you have these people? So when your investors or you or your clients or the builder wants to buy land, you can facilitate that conversation. Face-to-face stuff, allied resources. Going to meals, right? And I mean coffees and bagels. You have to take them out for a skirt steak and a lobster tail. Door-to-door canvassing. Well, Tim, I don't really want to do that because, certain times of the year here in New England, they'll think I'm canvassing for a certain political person. No, they won't. They'll think you're canvassing for you when you're the mayor of town, when you consistently door knock. If you go door knocking once in late October, of course you're going to look like you're canvassing for a political candidate. But if you door knock the neighborhood you want to be the mayor of regularly, it doesn't need to be once a week. But you could door knock 2 streets one week, 2 streets the next week, and and you keep rolling it over. When do you door knock? Every Thursday. Every Thursday. Yup. No matter what you do for prospecting and or marketing, it's not going to matter if it's not consistent. It's just not going to matter. It's not going to matter. Client parties. You can have these any time of the year. And these might be your quarterly events. If you look at the 36 Connect, people hear 36 Connect, they're like, oh my God, that's got to be a ton of phone calls. It's not. It's only 4 phone calls. With 4 quarterly events, every 90 days you're doing an event. Does it have to be expensive? Does it have to be cost prohibitive? No. I keep getting this wrong, so I'm just going to say it again because Zoe makes fun of me every time. I'm going to call it Apple World in Dover. What is it? Apple Harvest Fest, whatever it is, which I've never been to. Honest conversation. I'm an extrovert, and there's too many people in downtown Dover at Apple Harvest Fest. And if you're a Dover agent or you want to take over Stratford County, should you have a table at Apple World? Maybe. What does it cost to get a table at Apple World? That's your homework. Outside of buying a table and setting it up with a tent at Apple World and being there for the weekend, you're just leaning into a local event that you can invite your people to because you're going to call everybody in Dover that you know and the surrounding areas. You going to Apple World? Yeah, we're heading there. Awesome. I'll be on Central Ave right in front of XYZ. Looking forward to seeing you. Please swing by. And that's a whole 90-day window of inviting people to your next event. Lead invitation instead of lead generation, right? Social functions, seminars, booths at events like Apple World. So many things you can do to proactively prospect. Now, marketing, there's a huge list of things you can do. The prospecting is where it's at. Nothing against marketing. Should you be doing marketing? Yes. Is it a secondary thing? Yes. We have to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Before COVID, we were physically based, virtually enhanced. During COVID, we flipped that and we became virtually based, physically enhanced. Now we're getting back. We're doing stuff in person again. So you're physically based again, virtually enhanced, prospecting based, marketing enhanced. Because everybody says when I tell you guys to make phone calls, yeah, Tim, but you know what? I don't really love the phone. I'm better off face to face. You're absolutely right that you're better off face to face. And we know the math. 7% of our effectiveness is the words we choose. 43% of our effectiveness is the tonality in which we deliver those words. They can hear the passion in your voice, the excitement in your voice, the interest in your voice about their goals. The other 50%, your body language. So the gift of COVID And there weren't many, but one of the gifts of COVID for our industry, I think anybody in business, was Zoom. Because now, from wherever you are to wherever they are, you are on a phone call face to face. They can hear you. They can hear the words you're choosing, the tonality in which you're delivering them, and they can see you. It was the next best thing. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. So lean into that. Have those conversations. Go door knocking. Now, the blessing of being able to do, now you're not prospecting on Zoom. Zoom is where you're having your meetings. You're still prospecting on the phone to get you there. But if you or your clients still aren't sure about how you feel about getting together, that's okay. Use Zoom. You can share all the paperwork. You can have a face-to-face conversation. You save on travel. I just saw $4.58 a gallon. God forbid if you're driving diesel. Save your gas for when you need to absolutely go to the property. If you can have a Zoom meeting and you're more comfortable having a Zoom meeting, it's more efficient for you to have a Zoom meeting. Just a recommendation. Listen, I'm your coach. Zoe and I are never, ever, ever going to tell you how to run your business. I'm going to offer best practices. And if I can tee up a Wednesday afternoon with 3 listing appointments and all my clients are happy to Zoom and I don't have to drive anywhere and I can shine like a dime because I haven't been out in the heat or the rain. My hair is perfect. Not back to back to back. Leave yourself a 30-minute gap in between appointments. But wildly efficient. Well, I still have to see the property to make sure. I understand that. But you were doing it on Zoom a lot of the time during COVID. What are some of the best practices you formed during COVID when you absolutely couldn't get together? Make that work for you now. The listing numbers are starting to creep up a bit. And there's not a piece of me that doubts that you guys are behind that. Because we have these conversations all the time. They're not having this across the street. They're not talking on a regular basis about how many appointments do you have? How many listings do you have? Who do you know that I should know? Who do you know that we can serve? They're not doing it. They're waiting for you guys to get the listing. They're waiting for you to grab the bear claw so they can march their fat kid across the street. Be the bakery with all the bear claws. Ask the most questions. Gary says it all the time. Because people are freaked out. Well, I don't know what to say, Tim. I'm having trouble getting people talking. Just ask questions. Great leaders don't have all the answers. They have all the questions. Be a great leader. Uncover people's motivations. And help them work through the circumstances that's keeping them from taking their next logical step for them and their family, which is to buy, sell, invest, or maybe even join our brokerage. Michael Mayer. People went to that event. People love that event. What a great event. What a great book. Timmy talks about it all the time. You're right. I call it my 4th Gospel of Keller Williams. It's a phenomenal book. Michael Mayer's a phenomenal talent. He talked about doing events. Lead invitation. That could be your one thing. Oh my God, it's all starting to make sense. You guys know what you're talking about. You have the tools. And the mantra in this book that I echo all the time is today, somewhere in Portsmouth. Today, somewhere in York. Today, somewhere in North Conway. Someone's looking for help. And it's my job to find them. So who will you find today? And you have to be okay. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I'm going to tell you how to think. You have to be okay with the fact that you helped John start to fix his credit today. You have to be okay that you helped Stacy find her first rental today. You have to be okay that it's a challenge to get somebody to understand that the property needs to be dialed in to go with any of our government lending. but I just want to buy this. Well, okay, and there's some parameters, which is why it's so important that when we get our people signed, we get pre-approval of proof of funds, because the pre-approval allows us to understand what financial product they're using. It is incumbent upon us to make sure that we are informing our buyers, sellers, and investors. Communicate, educate, facilitate. That's our job. Who will you do that for today? If you need help with marketing, because you're not good at it, you don't want to be good at it, any answer is okay. Reach out to Babs. Time with Babs, B-A-B-S, timewithbabs.com. Her full suite of marketing is at KWCLMmarketing.com. And if you need my face, it's meetwithcoach.com. Questions, comments, or concerns for me, 603-834-2856. Your brokers are on at 1 o'clock for Ask the Broker. If you need them before that, call Jason Westcott, 603-234-2589. We'll see you in and around the Market Center. Have a great day and go find your person.